G'day divers and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the new release of Divoke's Platinum version 2 housing. My new favorite housing by Divoke. If you're new to my channel, I'm Sean Elliott and I've been doing underwater videography and photography for over 25 years. This channel is dedicated to using action cameras and smartphones paired with economical aftermarket accessories to get some great underwater footage. I want to show you that you do not need to spend a fortune or carry around kilos and kilos of equipment to get some great underwater images. If you want to know how to use your smartphone or action camera to get shots like these, then please like and subscribe to my channel. So if you've been a viewer of my channel for quite some time, you'd know that I bought the Divoke C-Touch Max 4 Plus housing for myself. This was my present to myself for Christmas last year. I always buy my own Christmas and birthday presents because then I get what I want and I can sort of tell a little bit of a porcupine to my wife about how much they cost. My wife does the same. You know, I pretend she's told me the truth about how much it costs and everybody wins, everybody gets what they want and I don't just end up with some silly socks. But no, I researched it, loved it, bought it myself and have loved it more than I ever expected, to be honest. And I made a video about why the Divoke housing is the best housing. In fact, the only housing that I would recommend for your smartphone, simply because there is no other housing like it. It is just simply a case for your phone with a membrane on the back and you use your smartphone exactly the same as you would inside the housing as you would outside the housing, and that makes it a far, far more powerful tool than anything else. And unless you have full access to those great third-party apps, the full access to basically the computer part of your phone, then you cannot get great footage with a smartphone. You would be much better off using an action camera. But once you put your smartphone in this, because you can do things like use Motion Cam Pro and get 60 frames of raw images per second in a video file, a raw video, you know, that's at the extreme, then you can absolutely blow away any action camera, but you can only do that in a Divoke housing. Why didn't I get the Platinum version 1 when I bought the C-Touch Max 4 Plus? And it was because the version 1 of the Platinum housing didn't have a cold shoe or a threaded screw so you could add a ball joint in its expansion clamp. So the difference between the C-Touch Max 4 and the Platinum is the Platinum has this expansion clamp built into it. It's part of the housing because the housing is a full aluminium housing. And you know, Divoke for some reason failed to put a cold shoe and a screw into the Platinum housing, and that's why a lot of people were then buying the C-Touch Max 4 Plus. But they have listened and they have brought out a version 2. So they're not saying this is a new housing, they're doing the right thing. I really hate when companies make a couple of small changes and suddenly make a whole brand new product, but this is just version 2. So now when you buy a Platinum housing from Divoke, you'll get version 2. Now version 2 now has the threaded screws so you can add a ball joint, and it has the cold shoe. And the reason I needed a cold shoe is I use the cold shoe to attach the action camera mount so I can add my Ace Pro 2, my X5, my GoPro 13, anything I want that's going to attach to this. But I use it for action cameras. Going forwards, you know, to be honest at the moment, if you want to know what my ideal perfect thing is when I go diving, is this housing with an X5 attached to it. That to me gives me the best of all worlds. But I still use all of them. I'm not saying that I love using all different cameras. I'm just saying if you asked me right now if I was going for a dive in the ocean, a recreational dive, that's what I'd take. The reason I say a recreational dive, I'm not going to take all that into a cave every time. It's just too big and too cumbersome for a tech dive in a really tight cave. But you know, by adding those two things are the only reason I didn't buy the Platinum in the first place. Now, I think it's worth paying extra for the Platinum. It's not going to give you any extra features. So if you have the Divoke C-Touch Max 4 Plus, then you're not missing out on anything. It's now actually the same. The Platinum housing used to not have that cold shoe and screws, so it actually had less features. Apart from that, because it's a housing for your phone and just a membrane system, they both now do exactly the same thing. So if you've already got the C-Touch Max 4 Plus, then there's no need to, if it's still in great nick and you don't need to be replacing it, then I wouldn't be racing out and buying a Platinum. It's just if you need to replace this housing or you haven't got one and you're looking at it, I would now seriously recommend this as probably your first option out of the two if you're happy to pay the extra money. because what you're paying for is that aluminium body. So it's a much heavier duty housing. I mean, the membrane is still probably the weakest part of the phone housing anyway. So, you know, it's not giving you a lot more durability, but it's just nice to have that proper premium aluminium housing. I've had no issues with the plastic housing whatsoever, but you know, you're just paying for that slightly more premium model. The looks as well. I mean, a lot of the time I dive with a dry suit. It's not because I'm cold. It's just because you look way cooler in a dry suit than you do in a wetsuit. Same as this. It just looks so much prettier. It's so much cooler. That is worth spending some money on, in my opinion. I'm just joking. So it sort of depends. If you were just going to snorkel, then, and you never plan on putting the expansion clamp on to use trays and lenses and stuff, then I'd just go with the Max 4. But if you're going to buy the expansion clamp, obviously once you start adding the extras that you get with the Platinum housing, there's not a lot of money in it. Like, you get the travel case. I recommend that you get a travel case. I bought a travel case. So the Platinum comes in the travel case, and I already own a travel case. I bought a travel case when I bought the C-Touch Max 4. I recommend you get the travel case. You know, I was always going to buy the expansion clamp, all those things. So by the time you add the extras that you get with the Platinum, there's not a lot of difference. And then after that, you're only paying because you're getting that nice aluminium housing, and it takes a slightly bigger phone. Now, it doesn't really matter unless, if you've got a phone like the Vivo X200 Ultra where you had to have the Platinum, then you already have the Platinum, and you're probably happy that there's a version 2 because now you have access to being able to have that cold shoe because you didn't have access to it before. But as far as iPhones and Samsungs and Googles, even the largest of them will all fit into the C-Touch Max 4 anyway. I mean, having that couple of millimeters is probably a little bit of more hope that in the future you're never going to have an issue with fitting a phone in there because you've got that tiny little bit more space. But I can't really see iPhones and Samsungs getting bigger than they are now, but who knows where they'll go. But so you get a couple more millimeters bigger in this, that's about it. I wouldn't buy it for that unless you particularly had one of the few big phones that need that extra space. The only other thing they've changed is they've changed the screw, and I really quite like this. They've realized that people have been saying they're having trouble opening the screw. So obviously the standard screw just has that one little metal lever, and I just find a lot of the time it ends up straight with the lens adapter. And if you've got gloves on, it can be a little bit tricky to get in there. So they've updated that to this nice double-sided curved. It's nice and large, easy with a pair of gloves. So just a little upgrade that's nice to have. So like I said, I wouldn't go racing out and, if I already had this one, to buy this one. But if you are going to buy housing, and especially if you're going to add the expansion clamp, add the travel bag and things like that, then you might as well pay the extra and just get that premium looking housing. As far as weight, yes, look, if you were going to snorkel, there is a fair bit of weight. You'll see that this is 375 grams, I think it was, around that without the expansion clamp, and this is around 750, so it's double. The thing is, once you put the expansion clamp on this, I weighed it, and it's over 600. So there's only about 100, 150 grams in, the matching housings in the end. There's not a lot, and that's obviously going to be even less once you're underwater. Really not that much in it. It's really just that extra little bit of aluminium around the frame of the housing. Now, if you are going to buy it, this is just a new version. So use the affiliate link in the description. A couple of reasons. One, you help the channel. Like, I do this for a hobby and a bit of fun, but it is very expensive to make videos. So if you can do anything that can help out and it doesn't cost you anything, that would be great. Not to mention, it takes you to the main site. If you want to guarantee that you get version 2, you need to buy it direct from the Divoke site. Postage is still very, very quick, and you're still going to get the best price, especially with the 6% discount that you'll get using that affiliate link. So that affiliate link gives you 6% discount on all Divoke products. Whenever you want to use it, just use it. Use the code Sean at checkout. I'll put that in the description as well, and you get 6% off. So you get 6% off. I get a very small commission. More importantly, what I do like is two things. One, I know that you bought it from the main site. So not really as much with Divoke, but certainly other things that I recommend. If you go and buy things from Alibaba, Amazon, or God knows where on the internet, there's no guarantee you are actually getting the thing I'm talking about. There are plenty of knockoffs. There is plenty of, old stock, refurbished stuff, and then they don't tell you. So if I have an affiliate link and I go back, even if you don't use the affiliate link, go to the main company that I'm talking about. So buy direct from Divoke, because that's the only way at the moment that you can guarantee you'll get version 2 anyway, because it's not a new housing. If you buy a Platinum housing from a reseller, they're going to want to obviously move their old stock first. So if you are buying from one of them, just make sure you send an email and be very, very clear that you want version 2. Otherwise, use the affiliate link so you get your 6% off. Order direct from Divoke. You'll get it in a week anyway. It's very quick. Best place to get it from. I mentioned that so you don't end up ordering a Platinum and getting version 1. So if you've got any questions, put them in the comments. If you wonder, you're probably going to see me using the Max 4 Plus a lot of the time anyway, because there is no actual difference as far as their usage underwater. So I'll probably save this and keep it nice and shiny, leave it behind me, wait for the day where I do manage to destroy it. I destroy everything in the end. I'm not the most, look, there's one of the big reasons I liked going back to action cameras and smartphones, and I certainly don't have lots of money, so don't think that, but the difference between using this and using, say, a $25,000 camera is, am I upset if I damage this? Yeah, a little bit. But am I a lot less upset than if I lose or damage a $25,000 camera? Absolutely. So, if you're going to be using action cameras and smartphones, especially action cameras, the word action probably should give it away. Like, if you're going to be too cautious with it, you're never going to get the shots you want. If you go on a dive and you're like, oh, it's going to be too risky to take my action camera because it's too hard and I might lose it, or same with my smartphone, then you're just not going to get any footage. The point of being able to take these more economical and smaller options is if I take this into a really hard cave and I destroy it, well, I destroy it. But 99% of the time I get in there and I get some amazing shots that I wouldn't have got if I had a very expensive camera and I was just too scared to take it through there and scratch it all up and damage it. So that is one of the big advantages of using, smartphones as action cameras, is knowing that you can be a little bit less caring about it, take it places you wouldn't, take it on dives you wouldn't, not have to worry so much about it. So now, because I have a spare, I'm going to be even less concerned about this. So it's probably going to get dragged through more difficult caves and on more tech dives than I would have when it was my only option, and if I destroyed it, I'd then have to buy a new one. So I think you'll probably see that more, that I'll probably still be using this one because I don't have to care now at all if I destroy it, because I have a nice new shiny one over here to use. I hope that helps. Till next time, don't forget to keep blowing bubbles, and never forget, the deeper you go, the further you get away from all those idiots.